Stefanie, and I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Let's Talk Film, a series where contemporary women get a chance to have their voices heard on the latest film releases. Today's film we'll be reviewing is the Iranian film and this year's Academy Award winner for Best Foreign Film, A Separation, written and directed by Asghar Farhadi. I'm sitting in Peach's Hothouse, an urban country cafe located on Tompkins Avenue near the corner of Hancock in the Bedford-Stuyvesant section of Brooklyn. Known as the Little Harlem of Brooklyn, Bedford-Stuyvesant, like many neighborhoods, has had its fair share of transformations. With its beautiful brownstone townhouses and scores of new restaurants, boutiques, galleries, and wine bars, Bed-Stuy is forging ahead with charm and appeal. And Peach's Hothouse, with its great affordable Southern regional classics and infamous Nashville-style hot chicken, remains the favorite place to kick back and have a fabulous meal. Let's go inside and sample the delectables.
And once inside, the warm, friendly, down-home environment welcomes you like a gracious Southern greeting. Co-owned by Craig Samuels, Peach's Hothouse is one of the many wonderful eateries he has created here in Brooklyn, New York, all with a Southern theme. The Smoke Joint was first in 2006, a traditional barbecue eatery where they coined the term real New York barbecue that has influences from such places as Memphis, Kansas City, Texas, and North Carolina. In 2008, Peaches followed. Named after his wife's grandmother, a wonderful woman full of warmth and hospitality, it was the first of two restaurants they created to honor her memory and gave them an opportunity to give the Bedford-Stuyvesant neighborhood a place with a true wholesome feeling. Both Peach's Hothouse, which opened in 2010, and the Smoke Joint have what Craig Samuels likes to phrase as an urban backwoods feel. They could both be a backwoods juke joint mixed with an urban loft in feel, mood, and theme. And their most recent, Little Brother Barbecue, which opened in late 2011, is an urban barbecue counter joint that adds to their smoking hot empire. But here at Peach's Hothouse, dishes and fun cocktails are not to be missed, like their famous fried green tomatoes with bacon, arugula, and barbecue mayo. And the St. Louis-style spare ribs were perfectly sweet, sticky, and succulent. And no visit, and we do mean none, would be complete without a sampling of the Nashville-style hot chicken. So good and truly satisfying to the last bite. Finish off your meal with a couple of delectable dessert delights, and you'll understand why their faithful following is ever growing to this destination hotspot of down-home deliciousness. And on that yummy note, let's meet our panelists.
Our panelist for today is Yahaira Pulino.
Hi!
Today's film we'll be reviewing is the Iranian film and this year's winner of the Oscar for Best Foreign Film, A Separation, written and directed by Asghar Farhadi. Did you like or dislike this film?
I loved it. When I finished seeing the film, I have like a little collection because I'm writing a feature right now. So I have a little collection of films that I'm just like, things that inspire me within them. And what I walked away thinking from this film was I was very much inspired and hope that I could make a film that depicts people in a natural form, in a human form, the way that he succeeded with this film. I think that not many directors, especially when you write it and you direct it, you get so married to your work and not enamored with your words and whatever you wrote and what's in your head that sometimes you don't know how to let go. But I thought the film was executed wonderfully. It was very natural. And my personal take on filmmaking is make it as real as possible.
Yeah.
Make it as human as possible.
And for me, this film is very anthropological, socially. You know, I felt like it was almost an ethnography almost. You're taking someone's circumstance, you're really taking a seat back, you're writing it all out, and you're expressing it in a way, and people can relate to it. And That's that correlation that I make.
In the human level, I
Yes,
agree. But
yes.
it wasn't like, because again, for me, it wasn't the Muslim culture, the fact that it was in another country, that didn't like, maybe because I'm an immigrant myself, so it's like I know what other countries look outside of here. But yeah, for the human interaction of it all, it felt anthropological.
Yes,
it did.
Exactly.
It did.
So the power of religion is a driving force in this film. What are your thoughts about that?
As like just a viewer?
Just a viewer.
Not knowing the ins and out of that particular religion, and then having seen it on screen in those circumstances, the issues with women not being able to self-express without permission was one that kind of took me aback. I mean, I was aware of it in some aspects, and coming from a very patriarchal culture myself, being Dominican, I can understand some of the similarities. But even within the characters, the two lead females, they were very different within that Muslim world. Yeah. So it was really interesting too, and I really loved how they depicted that, where they showed you, hey, look, this is someone who's really devout and really religious, and this is someone that is culturally religious, because that's it, it's a religion and a culture. So it was really interesting to see that.
And it's interesting that you picked up on that and that it's presented in this film, because for us, you know, in America, all of the news we get is that anything going on in the Middle East is overbearing or archaic or this or that.
Very normal.
But with this film, I definitely felt like you got that. You got that there was an era within the same country of independence, and then an era, an essence of dependence as well. And I also felt that there was this very, you know, ominous kind of presence of the faith, and that it ruled a lot of the way people made their decisions. But again, it wasn't overbearing.
No, because for me it was a religion and it was a culture.
Yes.
And I'm clear when it comes to stuff like that.
What were your thoughts on the performances of this film?
Amazing. The daughter.
I was going to ask, who did you think were the standout performances?
Oh, the standout performance? I really think that the lady that came to work for them was amazing, because I think her performance was so muted and so restrained that she could have been over the top. But it was those moments where she had so much to say and said nothing that spoke so loudly.
But at
for
the
me.
same, you know, the thing is, she was such a complex character, because at the same time, she could be very boisterous. When she had something to say, she really said it.
Well,
you know
it was
I mean?
like the kettle, just like burning until it boiled. But if you notice that it was just those moments of desperation. But throughout if you just watch her, and I'm not going to pitch for her, but
I know, right?
It's like, but if you just watch her for a second, while everybody's doing everything that they're doing, and everything is happening, it's her restraint. It's her restraint that said so much to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And she could be the antagonist or whatever you may see, but I think that as far as the performance go, it was amazing.
You know, it's funny, I kept thinking about that, and when I look at the father, the gentleman that played the father, I thought
he was great.
He was great too.
I mean, the acting in this film was phenomenal.
Was he sick? Was he an actual sick person that they got to like sit in, or was it? Because imagine doing that transformation as an able-bodied person, to have to, you know, reduce yourself in your emotion, in your speech. You know what I mean?
But that's why I think the quiet performances spoke to me more. The father, the grandfather figure. The daughter, both of them, even the little one, because it's so hard to work with kids.
Oh wait, and I have those names. So Terme was Serena Farhadi, who's actually the director's daughter.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so he's her daughter. She's his daughter. Excuse me. And no, that's the only. And I forgot the second
little
child.
one.
Yeah,
I think that those performances, the lady that came to work for them, the father-grandfather figure, and the two kids, because they didn't say much necessarily verbally.
Yeah.
It was so much in their eyes. And
in regard to the two young actresses and their characters, is this a story of their loss of innocence or coming of age?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I think the circumstances within the film, as an adult, how can I not be affected? Imagine a child that doesn't understand the nuances or the hard decisions that sometimes adults have to make. And I think that it was a loss of innocence for both.
Yes.
The revelations for the teenage daughter of who their parents were, you know, the demystifying of who she thought they were, in a way.
And the choices that she has to make.
Because of their decisions.
And her connection to both of them.
Absolutely. Yes. And I think with the younger character, I felt really sad. I felt really sad because I can see it happening. From the beginning of the film, she had this naturalness, this reacting where she was kind of bubbly and going about.
Yeah.
And towards the end, when everything started escalating, she retracted. And you can see that growing up. Yeah. She's growing up. She's becoming aware of the ugliness that can happen around her.
And the thing I liked about that was it didn't really take away from her as a child. But
that's because children are honest.
She knew when to be seen and not heard. Yeah. She knew when to keep secrets, which is a very adult thing to have to experience, or a very precocious thing.
And children are very aware.
They are.
Very aware. And sometimes, or most of the times, adults misjudge and say, oh, they don't understand, or they're little, they don't get it. And it's quite the opposite, because while we bank on words, they see action. Yeah. It has absolutely nothing to do with what you said.
Yep.
But how you reacted. And they're very perceptive to that.
Yeah, they're very sensitive and very intuitive in that way. And so that's why I really feel like that was conveyed perfectly by these actresses.
She did.
And it made it a loss of innocence. Not so much of coming of age, because the younger daughter was too young to come of any age.
For the older one, I think it was a coming of age, because now the decisions that she had to make, or the positions where her parents put her, she's an adult.
Yeah.
In the middle of the film and towards the end, the fact that certain things landed on her, I think that you can't walk away from that and say, I'm protected by my parents. Because I had to make a decision that may affect my parents, positively or negatively. You know what I mean? Putting that pressure on a child, you have to come out a trooper. You know, you have to have aged just by having to make those decisions, being put in that situation.
That was beautifully said. I completely agree. So there's no soundtrack to note of this film. Does that bother you?
No, it doesn't bother me at all, because I think it works for this particular film. And the soundtrack became the natural sounds of where we were. And I think that's pretty cool too, that when you don't need to put in music, and the quiet moments reveal this other character, and the character that's unseen, unnoticed, but creates so much of the ambiance and affects the characters so much, is the location.
Yep.
And I think in this film that you didn't really need it.
I would say definitely the environment. The environment absolutely is what helped to create that for me. And I definitely did not need any kind of music, any kind of sound at all. The writer and director of this film, Asghar Farhadi, has stated that he hopes that the viewer will not know whose victory to wish for.
Success.
Did you see this perspective in this film?
Yeah, I think he succeeded in that. Because it was a tug and war. And I think that people could easily relate to one character more than the other. And
at times.
For me, at times.
Yeah.
But I think I had my clear vision for the overall, who I felt was like, oh, no. Absolutely not.
Exactly.
That's not cool.
Yeah.
So I think he succeeded in that.
It's
a conversation starter. The way that it began and the way that it ended, and the way that the characters were so strong on their decisions, or their,
and as you say, stubborn.
They were stubborn. Yeah. So I think that I think he succeeded.
I agree completely. I think that I can't tell. I can't tell whose victory I should wish for, and B, I don't really know who was in essence victorious. I don't really know.
Exactly.
I have no clue.
Who won?
Yeah. It's like, but that's the thing. It's such a reflection of life. It truly is.
It is. It was very real life. Very natural.
Indeed.
The whole film was very natural.
Indeed. Would you have gone to see this film if you were not on the panel?
Yeah. I don't, to be honest, with my schedule and everything, I'm not saying that I would have made it to the movies. I have to be honest.
Yeah.
But I will, I try my best to see all.
Yeah.
I would have watched it eventually.
I have the same issue because my schedule is so busy. Sometimes I don't really get an opportunity to go to the movies.
And these films are limited too.
Yes.
They're not everywhere, so it's a little hard for you to pencil them in. But I most definitely would have watched it anyway, and glad that I did.
So Thanks so much, Yahaira, for joining me
Thank
today
you for having me.
sharing your opinion with me.
Awesome.
I'd like to thank Craig Samuel and Alicia Blagden for allowing us to shoot here at Peach's Hothouse, in Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn. Again, we were discussing the Iranian film A Separation, written and directed by Asghar Farhadi. Be sure to check out this and more at our website, www.letstalkfilm.com, which is also available on your mobile device. Until next time, I'm your host, Stefanie Alleyne. Keep watching and keep talking film.
Thank you.